Thank you. Starting again, can you tell us about the work that you are doing here to serve the Indigenous community and the community of deaf persons?
Hi, my name is Crystal, and I'm from 𝐾𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲. I am working today as a deaf Indigenous interpreter, and I'm one of the team here to provide interpretation to our people, both Indigenous and non-Indigenous deaf people who are here today.
And can you tell us what it means for you and for the people that you serve to be here with the Pope in this moment, not just for this event, but for his entire penitential journey here among the Indigenous peoples of Canada?
I think what's imperative is language. I want it to be recognized that communication is the key and access. But you communicate through a language, be it ASL, American Sign Language, LSQ, Langue des Signes Québécois, or one of our various Indigenous sign languages. We no longer want to be seen as second-class people. A language is a language, and our language is as valid as anyone else's. Yes, the Pope, he's choosing to speak Spanish, for example. And is that accessible to everyone here? Like, not really, honestly. And we respect that. He is delivering the message in the language that he would prefer. And likewise, we're just looking for that similar, equal respect.
And you told us earlier that you're a residential school survivor. Could you tell us about your experience and your feelings? Your story, basically.
Well, when I was quite young, those who were non-Indigenous thought of us as dirty, and our education was minimal. We were pushed aside by those who were non-Indigenous. And if the slightest thing happened in school, schoolyard things where a child fell over, then it would be the Indigenous students or myself being blamed for it. Counselors were always putting us in these little cabinet things, these wooden boxes. You'd be locked in there for punishment. And why not the other girls? Why was it always me? I was on the receiving end of that. As an Indigenous person, let's blame her? And where's that coming from? The educational system? Did the teachers learn that, or the church was allowing that? I wasn't allowed to use my sign language. My hands were slapped. I wasn't allowed to sign. And I was supposed to learn through only speech reading. That method's called oral education. My sign language, my Indigenous sign language, stopped right then and there. I wasn't allowed to use it. And so that's the type of thing that we would like the Pope to understand. Access for us is through our eyes and our language, and how imperative our languages are. That's why we're using, or we have provided, deaf interpreters here who are fluid users in the language, and deaf themselves. They know how to deliver that message.
And we were speaking a little while ago about the challenges of signing and providing a service of interpretation for the people here. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, interpreting services, that's almost new to everyone. There are various associations and things that will provide access, and some access starting. We're getting some translation between videos and text, and the government, corporations, they're thinking to make their things accessible. But one of the barriers that exists is right here in this location, for example. We're standing with the sun beaming down on us. And so in order for the deaf Indigenous and non-Indigenous deaf people in the audience to see us, they're squinting as the sun is over our head when we provide the interpretation. And there's so many cameras and media here. For example, that's another instance where access for us is through our eyes and we need to be close enough to see what's going on. Those front positions are taken by media, by photographers, etc., who are hearing what's going on. They're simply photographing it. But for us, we don't hear the message as being relayed by the Pope and others taking part in all of these various events. So we need to have that physical close access to be able to have successful access. And what I'm finding is we've been relegated to a section and it hasn't been in the forethought of those organizing things that how might the visibility be? Yes, we have front rows in a section, but the section is we are then blinded by the sun that is directly shining down behind the heads of the interpreters, and it's so difficult to see. And I just want to add as well, from Elder Marcia and myself, my late mother and father were both also survivors of residential schools, as my own grandparents. And through the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, it did visit my town. And on the first day, there were 2 interpreters trying to contact me. I wasn't able to go that day, but I did go the second day. And the commission was there, they hosted an event, and it was there for people to give testimony on what was their experience going through the residential school system and the like. What was it like to be a young Canadian here, Indigenous person in Canada. And I saw there was a lot of crying in the room, and the atmosphere was very heavy. There were 2 sign language interpreters there, and they too were crying. And I had my young son with me, and as I started to watch the survivor stories, I looked to the interpreter and I said, "What did they just say? Is that true? Did all that happen? What did they say?" And so the interpreters confirmed, yes, we are interpreting correctly. That is what they're saying. And the interpreters continued, though they themselves were crying. With tears in their eyes, they continued to relay what they were watching and put that into spoken English. And then I understood, looking back in my own life, that my parents had substance abuse and were it was difficult for me, and it was hard on me because I didn't like to see my poor mother. She turned to alcohol, and I tried to support her. I tried to get her to stop. And when I saw all those other survivors talking about their experiences and the triggers that they have now, and how some were healing, some were unable to, and I look around at my own family, as I said, my grandparents, aunts and uncles, my cousins, now with that renewed knowledge of what happened, I'm better to look back. I am in a better place to look back at my own history and understand things that I didn't know, I didn't understand. And now I realize the emotional abuse, along with all the other types of abuse, that really hit our community hard. And my own spirituality, I have to say, I'm not a Catholic. I'm spiritual in other ways. I would have to agree with you there. One thing I'll just say, in case I'll just introduce myself. I'm 𝐴 Richardson, born and raised in British Columbia, and part, it's not Mick, it's 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲. And I'll just say my name. I am giving you my name so what you have on video is my name spelled out in the letters. The interpreter is unable to pronounce it at this moment. Others who use English call me Marcia Ireland. And that was a name given to me. what I signed for you in finger-spelled letters is my original, actual name. I am from the Oneida tribe, Turtle Island. I am an elder, and I work within the deaf. I work in the sense of try to be healer in the deaf community, my deaf Oneida Indigenous community, and I try to provide healing and promote the recognition of our land, And for example, the song of the national anthem, "O Canada," that doesn't relate to our experience with the land. And also, Crystal is saying my Cree name is �W𝐴𝑃𝐴NACAHKOS. And that's my name sign. It's at the moon. It is. Oh, it's the morning star. That would be an English translation of my name.
I don't want to take away from your work if you have to interpret, but is there anything else you'd like to say? You have to go.
We actually do, but
thank you so much for your time, and I hope I can do this justice.
Well, thank you. Please do send the word out there as much as you can. Please.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.